All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling the war in Ukraine. You know, it's a huge topic.
Oh, yeah.
And we got this document from you guys.
Yeah.
And it's in Romanian, actually,
Right.
detailing the timeline of the conflict.
Interesting.
All the way from the invasion, like way back up
Yeah.
to today, December 19th, 2024.
Right.
So we're going to like really get into this timeline.
Yeah.
And we've got an expert here with us, of course, to
Yeah.
help us unpack it all and really understand what it means.
You know, I think having a timeline like this is really crucial, you know,
Yeah.
with a conflict this complex, right? Global
Yeah.
repercussions. It helps us make sense of it all.
Totally. And it's incredible to see, like, you know, the momentum shifts, right?
Yeah.
The unexpected turns, the whole thing.
Absolutely.
So to help us navigate all this, well, we've got
Yep.
our expert here who's been following the situation like super closely.
I'm eager to dive in.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to unpack.
There is. All right. So let's rewind like all the way back
Okay.
to February 24th, 2022. I mean, most of us,
Yeah.
we all remember exactly where we were
Oh, yeah.
when the news broke that Russia had invaded.
It was a day that I think will be etched in our memories.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for a long time.
Yeah.
Russia launched what they call,
Yeah.
you know, this special military operation.
Right.
But let's be real, right?
Yeah.
This was a full-scale invasion
Yes,
of Ukraine, a sovereign nation. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a blatant violation of international law,
Right.
and it really shocked the world.
Absolutely. And the timeline really captures the speed, you know,
Yeah.
and the intensity of those first few days. Like
Oh, yeah.
cities, you know,
Yeah.
Kiev, Kharkiv, Mariupol,
Mm.
they were all under heavy bombardment right away.
Yeah, and from the outset, it seemed that Russia's objective was just to, you know,
Yeah.
take over the country really fast, like right away. Capturing Kyiv, that was the key, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably to just get rid of the Ukrainian government, you know,
Right.
and install a pro-Russian regime.
Yeah, but looking back,
Yeah.
it's so clear that Russia, they really
Underestimated, yeah,
underestimated the strength of
Oh, yeah.
Ukrainian resistance.
100%. Their initial advance was met with, you know, fierce resistance
Yeah.
from both the military, the Ukrainian military,
Right.
and just ordinary citizens, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Picking up arms.
And then in April,
Yeah.
we see this major shift.
Oh, yeah?
Russian forces, they withdraw from the north,
They did.
abandoning, you know, their attempt to take Kyiv.
Uh-huh.
And then,
And in their wake, the world, you know,
yeah,
is confronted with the horrors
yeah.
of Bucha.
Bucha, I mean,
It was a turning point.
yeah, the atrocities committed in Bucha were,
Yeah.
they were a pivotal moment in the war. You know,
Totally.
it wasn't just the brutality.
You know, of it all.
Right.
But it was really how it galvanized international support
Yeah.
for Ukraine. You know,
Yeah.
nations that had been hesitant to get involved were now like, okay,
Yeah.
we gotta
Yeah.
do something. You know,
Yeah.
they provided military aid
Yeah.
and they imposed sanctions
On Russia.
On Russia, exactly.
And it really feels like the whole narrative kind of shifted at that point, you know?
Totally.
From like, Russia's going to win, it's inevitable, to like,
Yeah.
Ukraine is fighting for survival.
Exactly. The Bucha revelations.
Yeah.
They painted this clear picture,
Yeah.
right, of what was at stake.
Yeah.
And from this point,
Right.
the focus of the war shifts eastward
Okay.
to the Donbass region area with, you know,
Yeah.
a large Russian-speaking population
Yeah.
and where these separatists, right,
Mhm.
have been fighting since 2014.
Okay, so the conflict kind of moved to a region where
Yeah, where Russia felt more
Russia felt a little more
more confident, yeah.
confident.
But they still faced
Yeah.
stiff resistance,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
The siege of Mariupol,
Right.
you know, which was this strategic port city in the Donbass.
Uh-huh.
It became,
Like a symbol
a symbol of
Ukrainian defiance.
Ukrainian defiance, yes.
The timeline, it paints this like grim picture of the fighting there.
It was.
Could you tell us more about what happened in Mariupol?
Well, you know, Mariupol was just subjected to like weeks
Yeah.
of just relentless shelling,
Aye.
bombardment. You know, the city's infrastructure was just
Yeah.
decimated.
Yeah.
And thousands of civilians were killed.
Wow.
And Ukrainian defenders,
Yeah.
including the Azov regiment, right?
Yeah.
They were forced to make a last stand
Yeah.
in the Azovstal steel plant.
Yeah.
You know, this sprawling complex with underground tunnels.
Yeah, like, against overwhelming odds.
A desperate battle.
So the fall of Mariupol then in May.
In May. Yeah.
That was a strategic victory for Russia.
It was a strategic victory,
Yeah,
but it
but-
came at a tremendous cost.
Yeah.
It further solidified,
Yeah.
international condemnation
Yeah.
of Russia's actions, right?
Yeah.
And it really highlighted the brutal nature of this war.
So by mid-2022 then,
Yeah.
the fighting had shifted to the east,
Yeah,
but it was far from over.
far from over.
The timeline describes this kind of back and forth struggle
Right.
for control of the Donbass.
Yeah, from June to August,
Right.
Russia made some gains.
Yeah.
They captured Severodonetsk and Luhansk, these
Right.
two key cities in the Luhansk region.
Right.
But during this period,
Okay.
something really crucial was happening.
What's that?
Ukraine started receiving,
Yeah.
more and more
Right.
military aid from Western countries.
More and more support, yeah.
Yeah.
And one weapons system in particular seemed to make a huge difference, the HIMARS rocket launchers.
The HIMARS, yeah.
Yeah.
The arrival of HIMARS
Yeah.
was a game changer for Ukraine.
Really? Yeah.
These systems, with their precision
Mhm.
and range,
Yeah.
allowed Ukraine to strike
Like what kind of targets?
high-value Russian targets, command posts,
Yeah.
ammunition depots,
Wow.
even bridges
Wow.
deep behind enemy lines.
So they were like disrupting
Yeah.
Russia's ability to like
Logistics.
yeah.
Exactly. It was
Yeah.
a major blow to Russia's offensive potential.
Yeah.
And it really gave a huge boost to Ukrainian morale.
Of course. So it wasn't just like
Yeah.
the tactical advantage, it was
Yeah, psychological.
the psychological impact too.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
And then in
So they
September,
were-
we see this stunning turn of events,
yeah.
this Ukrainian counteroffensive
Yeah.
in the Kharkiv region,
In the Kharkiv region, this counteroffensive was
a masterpiece of military planning and execution.
wow.
It just it caught the Russians completely by surprise.
Wow.
Resulted in a rout of their forces.
Yeah.
Ukraine was able to liberate
Yeah.
large chunks of territory that
Yep.
Russia had occupied.
So months. Yeah.
Months.
It was a huge victory for Ukraine
Huge victory.
and a major setback for Russia.
It was a major setback for Russia, absolutely.
What happened? Did Russia have to like
They had to announce,
change their strategy?
they announced a partial mobilization,
Partial mobilization.
calling up reservists, right, to
Mhm.
try to bolster
Mhm.
their depleted ranks.
Yeah. Can you explain what that means? Like partial mobilization?
Yeah.
It sounds kind of euphemistic.
Right. It was a politically risky move
Yeah.
for Putin.
Yeah.
It exposed the reality of the war
Yeah.
to the Russian public
To their own people.
in a way they hadn't experienced before.
Right. Right.
And the quality of these newly mobilized troops
Yeah.
was questionable at best.
So a bit of a propaganda victory for Ukraine there.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because it shows that,
Right.
Russia is
Yeah, not doing so
well, not doing so well.
Struggling.
Right after this, the timeline highlights another blow to Russia.
Oh, yeah.
It's symbolic, really.
Yeah.
The explosion on the Kerch Strait Bridge.
The Kerch Strait Bridge in October.
In October,
Yeah.
yeah, that bridge.
That bridge
Yeah.
connects
Yeah.
Russia to the Crimean Peninsula.
Crimea.
And it was
It's the crucial
supply route
supply route, yeah.
for their forces in the south.
In the south, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it was a major logistical artery for Russia.
Right.
The damage to the bridge,
Yeah.
it was temporary,
Right.
but it still had a significant impact
Yeah.
on their ability to move troops and equipment. And it's fascinating to see how the timeline captures not just like, the battles, but these turning points
Yeah.
that have these like ripple effects across the entire conflict.
It really highlights how
Yeah.
interconnected everything is,
Yeah.
in a war like this.
Absolutely.
And facing these setbacks on the battlefield, right?
Right.
Russia shifted its strategy
Boy,
once again,
what?
resorting to a brutal tactic,
Yeah.
targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure.
Yeah.
As winter approached, Russia unleashed this wave of missile and drone attacks, right?
Yeah.
Targeting power plants,
Yeah.
substations, and other critical infrastructure.
It seems like.
It was deliberate,
Right.
a deliberate attempt to
plunge the cities into darkness.
To plunge Ukrainian cities into darkness and cold.
Wow.
Hoping to,
break their will.
Break the will of the people.
Yeah.
Just, make them give up.
Really chilling tactic. Did it work?
Well, it undoubtedly caused immense suffering and hardship.
Yeah, I can imagine.
For Ukrainian civilians.
Right.
But strategically, it kind of backfired.
How so?
It further solidified, international condemnation of Russia.
Yay.
And it really
made people want to help.
Galvanized support for Ukraine.
Right. It probably strengthened their resolve.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It had the opposite effect, But despite this, the year 2022 ended on a positive note for Ukraine.
How so?
In November, they liberated Kherson.
Kherson.
The only regional capital Russia had captured.
That must have been a huge morale boost for Ukraine.
Huge.
So as 2023 began then,
it
was clear that this was
far from over.
This was far from over.
The timeline points to, intense fighting around the city of Bakhmut.
Bakhmut.
In eastern Ukraine.
Right.
Bakhmut became this symbol, of Ukrainian resistance.
Right.
But also a
reminder.
A stark reminder of the brutal cost of war.
Yeah.
The battle for Bakhmut.
Yeah.
It just raged for months,
Yeah.
Heavy casualties.
On both sides.
On both sides, yeah.
The timeline also mentions Russia capturing this nearby town, Soledar, in January.
Soledar, yeah.
What was the significance of that?
Soledar? Well, small town,
Right.
It was strategically important because of its salt mines.
Salt mines.
These underground tunnels could be used for storage.
Right.
Troop movements, even from artillery bombardment.
So controlling those mines.
Yeah, it gave Russia
a tactical advantage.
A tactical advantage in the area, yeah.
Okay.
But even with the capture of Soledar, Russia's progress in the Donbass remains slow and costly.
Meanwhile, throughout early 2023, we see Western allies stepping up.
Yeah, they're stepping up their support.
Their support for Ukraine.
Yeah, providing heavier weapons.
Heavier weapons? Like what?
Including main battle tanks.
You mean battle tanks?
Like the Leopard and Challenger.
This was a big deal.
Right, this was crucial.
Because Ukraine had been asking for this.
They had been pleading for these advanced tanks for months, arguing that they were essential for breaking through Russian defensive lines.
And finally, in June 2023.
June 2023, yeah.
Ukraine launches its long-awaited counteroffensive.
The counteroffensive.
The timeline describes major pushes in the south, in the Zaporizhia region, and continued fighting in the east.
The goal of the counteroffensive was ambitious.
Oh, was it?
To liberate as much occupied territory as possible.
Okay.
Potentially even. Reaching the Sea of Azov and cutting off Russia's land bridge to Crimea.
Wow, that's ambitious.
But the
timeline suggests that progress was
slow. What was holding them back?
Ukraine faced formidable challenges. Russia had months to fortify their positions. Creating these complex defensive lines.
Like what kind of defenses?
Wrenches.
Right.
Minefields.
Oh, wow.
Anti-tank obstacles.
Really?
It was a slog.
It sounds like it.
It was.
And Russia was still using their artillery, right?
They continued to use their artillery advantage.
Inflicting heavy casualties. Despite those challenges.
Yeah.
The timeline does highlight some
notable successes.
Yeah, what were they?
In July, Ukraine recaptured several villages in the south.
Right.
And there are mentions of continued drone and missile attacks on Russian targets. So they were striking back as well.
Yeah, those attacks, while often overshadowed by the ground fighting, right? They were crucial in degrading Russia's logistical capabilities.
So we hear about the big battles and the territorial gains. But it's important to remember those smaller victories.
It is.
The moments of attrition.
Absolutely.
That can tip the scales.
Those little wins, right? They add up.
And then in September,
yeah.
There's this symbolic breakthrough.
Oh, yeah.
The liberation of the village of Robotyne.
Robotyne in the
Zaporizhia region?
Zaporizhia region.
Why was Robotyne so important?
Robotyne lay on this key road leading to the city of Tokmak, a major logistical hub,
like a supply hub,
for Russian forces in the south.
So capturing Robotyne,
it was a
step towards a much larger prize.
Exactly. It showed that Ukrainian forces were slowly but surely, grinding down Russian defenses.
But despite these efforts, by November 2023, the front lines remained largely unchanged.
The counteroffensive, while demonstrating,
Ukraine's resilience. And military capabilities.
Yeah.
It hadn't achieved.
Yeah, decisive breakthrough.
So the war entered a new phase then?
A new phase.
Of attrition.
Both sides exhausted.
Yeah, exhausted but determined.
But still determined to fight.
Yeah.
And as 2024 began...
The
timeline paints this pretty grim picture.
Yeah.
A renewed wave of Russian bombardment.
Yeah, throughout early 2024.
Okay.
Russia intensified its attacks...
From where?
On civilian infrastructure.
Again?
Once again...
trying to break their spirit?
Attempting to break the spirit of the Ukrainian people. It feels like a cruel echo of the previous winter.
It does.
Did they change tactics at all?
Well, while the targets remained similar, Russia did employ a new weapon.
Oh, what was that?
Iranian-made Shahed drones.
Shahed drones.
These drones are relatively inexpensive.
Okay.
But can cause significant damage.
Wow, so like a way for them to...
Yeah, to inflict terror.
Without
depleting their own...
Missile
stockpiles, exactly.
Yeah. But the timeline also highlights this crucial development that Ukraine receives more advanced...
Air defense systems
from its allies. This was a game changer, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
In terms of protecting...
Yeah, protecting civilian lives and...
Infrastructure.
Yeah.
These systems, including Patriot batteries.
Right.
And others,
They
significantly boosted Ukraine's ability to intercept incoming missiles and drones.
Yeah.
They played a vital role
in, minimizing the impact.
In mitigating the impact of Russia's attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do things stand today?
Yeah.
December 19th, 2024.
2024, according to this timeline.
The conflict continues.
Okay.
Varying levels of intensity along the front lines.
Right.
There have been small gains and losses on both sides.
Yeah.
But
no major breakthroughs?
No major breakthroughs. No.
And negotiations haven't really gone anywhere?
International negotiations have yet to yield,
That's significant.
A significant breakthrough.
It's been almost 3 years.
3 years.
Of brutal fighting.
Brutal.
And the end still seems so uncertain.
It does, yeah. It's a sobering reality. This timeline, it's
given us a good overview.
It's given us this clear view, right?
Yeah.
Of the key events. The ebb and flows.
Of the conflict.
Of this whole conflict, yeah.
But it's important to remember,
What's that?
This is just the
skeleton, yeah.
The skeletal outline, right.
Behind each date, behind each battle.
Yeah.
There are, Countless human stories. Of courage and resilience.
Yep.
And loss.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to get caught up.
Yeah.
In the big picture.
In the military strategies.
Right.
The geopolitical
implications.
But we can't lose sight
of the human cost.
Of
this war.
Exactly,
Millions of people
have been displaced.
From their homes.
Families torn apart.
Lives shattered.
Yeah,
it's a stark reminder that these
conflicts.
These
dates on a timeline.
They represent real people.
Real people whose lives have been
changed forever.
Irrevocably altered.
It's also important, I think, to consider how this war has reshaped.
Oh, it's reshaped.
The geopolitical landscape.
Yeah.
It's exposed these
fault lines.
These fault lines in the international order.
Yeah, tested alliances.
Raised
profound questions.
Yeah, about the future of Europe.
About the future of Europe, yeah.
Global security, the whole thing.
Global security, it's...
It's certainly shattered.
Oh, it's shattered. Any illusions?
Any illusions about a
lasting peace.
Lasting peace in Europe after the Cold War.
Yeah, absolutely.
We thought that was over.
And it's forced countries
to rethink everything.
To reevaluate,
the defense.
Their defense strategies.
Energy.
Their energy dependencies.
Their alliances.
The ripple effects
That's global.
Are felt far beyond Ukraine's borders.
We've also seen the power of information warfare.
Information warfare.
It's in this conflict.
The role of social media.
Social media.
And really the importance of...
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking, yeah.
In a world where we're just saturated with propaganda.
With propaganda.
From all sides.
It's been a stark reminder.
Of what?
Of how quickly narratives
can change.
Can shift.
Yeah.
And how truth
can become a casualty.
Yeah.
And how crucial it is to,
seek out
multiple perspectives.
Multiple perspectives, verify
information.
So looking ahead then,
yeah.
What might the
long-term consequences
of this war be?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
War has already had a profound impact.
On everyone.
On Ukraine, on Russia.
On the world.
On the world, yeah. The long-term consequences, they're going to depend on
so many things.
A multitude of factors,
Yeah.
The duration of the conflict, how long it goes on. Yeah.
The eventual outcome.
Who wins?
Yeah, the willingness of the international community
to help Ukraine.
To support Ukraine's reconstruction.
Because even if the fighting stopped tomorrow,
yeah.
The road to recovery...
Oh, it's going to be long.
Long and arduous.
Rebuilding.
Yeah, rebuilding their
shattered
infrastructure. Healing the wounds of war.
Seeking justice.
It's
a monumental task.
Monumental.
And the geopolitical landscape...
It's going to be...
is forever altered.
Forever altered, yeah. The war has
strengthened NATO, but
it's also deepened the divide
between Russia and the West.
Yeah.
The long-term implications.
Yeah,
we're still unfolding. We're still figuring it out.
It's timeline.
Yeah, this timeline's been a great guide.
It's been a valuable guide, yeah.
Through the key events. Of the war.
But it's really just a starting point.
It's a starting point.
There's so much more.
To
explore. The human story.
The strategic complexities.
The
ethical dilemmas.
Yeah.
The lessons learned. And what might happen.
The potential scenarios for the future.
Yeah, it's crucial.
Crucial to continue engaging with this conflict.
Yeah.
Seeking out diverse perspectives. And thinking critically. About the information we encounter.
Yeah, because understanding this conflict...
It's complex.
It's multifaceted. It requires ongoing attention. Willingness to grapple with nuance. And a commitment to finding the truth.
To seeking truth amidst the fog of war.
Yeah.
We have to remember...
Yeah.
That the future of Ukraine...
And
indeed the future of...
global security.
Global security... hinges on
the choices we make.
Today
and in the days to come.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us.
On this deep dive.
Into
the war in Ukraine.
It's a conflict. That continues to shape our world.
And it deserves our continued attention.
Our
empathy.
And
our understanding.
We hope this exploration has given you some valuable insights.
Yeah.
And inspired you to
delve even deeper.
To learn even more.
Into this critical issue.
About this critical issue.